Mark and Paulette here, the two travelers in Mexico, and today we are here with our friend Sandra, who is an attorney, and one of the things that she does is immigration help. So we're going to talk to her about that and what the steps are for getting your temporary residency or your permanent residency, and if you could just kind of walk the viewers through that.
Yes, hi, Mark and Paulette. I'm Sandra Cano. I'm an immigration attorney, and for many years I have been working with expats, helping them to deal with authorities. So, as you may know, this has been changing a lot. Every now and then, laws change in Mexico. So, what was truth for last year may not be truth for this year.
True.
But as you were saying, in general terms, if you want to come as a temporary resident, you may begin in your country, contacting your Mexican consulate in your closest to you. I mean, in the United States, there are plenty of almost in every city.
Sure.
There is a Mexican consulate. Otherwise, in the rest of the world, in every capital city, there is a Mexican consulate, and they may give you the requirements. Most of the requirements have to do with money, with your income, okay?
Right.
And so there are different ways to come to Mexico. One of them is as you came here as a retiree, you may come with your own income, okay? So you say, I will live with my own money. You show your proof of your assets and what you have, and if they approve it, and this is one of the particularities, for example, some consulates, there is like an amount of money set from this to this.
Yeah.
And some consulates say, with this is enough.
Yeah.
If you prove this, is enough. But other consulates say, no, you go to the top.
That's right.
Okay? So that's something I cannot tell you
have
for
no control
now.
over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what may be true for this year, maybe in June, is not truth anymore because they increase it.
And that's why, like, people in the United States, they will shop consulates. If they don't get an answer that they like that fits them in one, they go to
another one. And now they say, for example, go to Las Vegas. It's easier. So they all go to Las Vegas. Or they go to the cities in the border, you know, McAllen and San Diego. These cities, they seem to be easier. So it depends. It depends. And that's a part of the information that you may get more from the expats than from us here in Mexico.
Because a lot of the financial requirements are based on the Mexican minimum wage.
Exactly.
Which is going up, has been going up by 15 or 20% every year, at least in the last few years. So that means that the minimum qualifications go up exponentially because it's tens or even hundreds of times that Mexican minimum wage.
Exactly, and in some consulates they say, no, you have to prove it for 2 years, that you have been getting this amount for 2 years. And some others, the last 6 months. So it depends on the consul also, or the person who's going to check your documents. That's like the typical way, okay, the normal way since a few years ago up to now. So you go there, you get your approval, let's say this way, your approval, and they will give you like your temporary residency is
your
accepted,
passport.
exactly, in your passport. And then as soon as you arrive to Mexico, you have to make an appointment here.
How long do you have
immigration?
How long do you have, Sandra? When you come over?
You have 30 days.
Okay.
30 days to make that change.
Okay.
But once again, depending on the city.
From the time you cross the border.
Exactly.
Right.
From the cross you enter, yes. And that's also important. You have to tell to the authorities, immigration authorities, number one, if you're crossing by land, some, especially United States people, they cross and they are never asked by anyone. They are not stopped by authorities. So they are just like, bye. No, you have to stop them.
Right.
And you have to ask for the stamp.
Right.
With the date when you cross.
Right.
Otherwise, if you arrive to Mexico without that stamp, you have to go back to the border and ask them to put the stamp. Because the authorities want to know when you have arrived.
Right. And some of that's because of a lot of the area that borders the United States and Mexico is the free zone.
Exactly.
And people
just go by like.
Yeah, they cross almost every day, so they just kind of wave you on. But you do have to make a special point to stop there at I&M and
exactly. And even if you are crossing very late by night, you don't know where to stop, and there's no one who to ask to. So
yeah, it's not really well marked. You know,
no.
Yeah.
that's kind of a problem.
Exactly, no. So, and also, once again, depending on the city you're going to go to Mexico,
Okay.
Immigration offices work in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I may tell you that here in San Luis, you get your appointment 3 weeks ahead. So, but you have to go to the office, go there, show your documents, and they set your appointment for the change.
Right, you're not going to get it that day. They just set the appointment for you.
3 weeks before. And 3 weeks is like a very weird number. We may say, why 3 weeks? Well, because every month they open like the new schedule. So they open the schedule, and 3 weeks later you can get your appointment.
Okay. So when someone is ready to go to the I&M office, what documents do they need for like temporary residency?
The approval, the document you get when you cross the border there, and also, well, nowadays you can pay, for example, once again in San Luis, you pay in the office. Now you can pay there, which was not the way it was done before. You used to pay at the bank. And
yeah,
it was a bit complicated because of the way in Mexico we write names.
Right.
Once again, it has to do also with women, for example, and your legal name and the name you have in your passport, and it's a bit complicated.
Yeah, it can get complicated.
Exactly. But now you pay there, and you fill a form, and that form you download it from the internet, from the website.
So typically, though, how many months of bank statements are you going to need? Like, if you're going there for the first time?
6 months. In some cases they require a year, and in some others even 2 years. I have heard of people 2 years.
Now, when we did it, which was quite a while ago, you had to show for retirement. You had to show what? 6 months?
6 months, yeah.
Of that retirement money going into your account.
My account, yeah.
Yeah, on retirement.
Like 6 months after you became retired.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
maybe you had the same amount of money or even more before, but well.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And there's also another way to get it, which is like buying a property in Mexico. Some other people do it that way. Or some others say, I'm going to invest in Mexico. Even there's people asking for that way of coming to Mexico because they say,
how would they invest? What would they do if not buying property?
They can make a business. So what they are going to show is that they are opening like job sources of work sources for Mexican people. So they say, this is the business I'm going to open there.
Okay.
It's a bit different again because they have to prove that they have some Mexican people involved in the business, how much money they're going to invest, how many people is going to work on their company, etc. And the other one, which is like the way many people come, especially to San Luis, which are legal workers, people who work on companies, especially transnational companies, so in the academy, as teachers, as faculties. So they get a job permit, but also the same way, they have to go to the consulate first.
Okay.
There is only one exemption, if you want to, we can talk about that exemption, is the after the COVID-19 pandemic, as most offices and airports and people could not go back to their places.
So are you talking about people who overstay their visa?
Exactly. They overstay their visa, and if you show authorities that you were in Mexico before 2023, which is last year, then you can get your temporary residency. But the point is that you have to pay 4 years straight.
And what is that program called?
Is the regularization program.
Regularization
program. It's not accepted in all the immigration offices.
Okay.
Not all of them offer it.
Okay.
And in all of them, you have to pay a special fee for regularization,
Okay.
which also, once again, it depends on the office. Every office set a different amount. So, and it may end in any moment every 6 months. For example, last year they told us that it won't work anymore, and then once again they open it, but once again they are saying maybe in June it's over. So we don't know. I guess they are getting good results through this program.
The interesting thing is that through the regularization program, you don't have to prove financial anything.
No, just that you have been here.
And 1 day past your visitor visa, however long that is.
It will be 4 years. You have to, and you have to pay 4 years straight.
Right.
That's also something that many people may say.
So they're getting their temporary, is what
exactly.
they're getting by
But
doing
it's straight for 4 years. You cannot get it for one, as most expats do.
So then what happens after the 4 years? Would they
And
go,
you can go to the permanent.
they can go to permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can go to permanent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we're not in that case.
Yeah, and I think some people honestly are doing that now because the financial requirements are getting so high that
They can't qualify.
They can't qualify.
Yeah.
So
And it just requires a stamp that on your passport that you were here before 2023. Just if you prove that, you can look for it. I mean, you require the money to pay because you have to pay in one exhibit. It is.
Yeah.
Well, some documents and fill out
Right.
forms and applications, etc.
and special like photos you have to have, like they call it an infantile photo here.
Well,
No, but nowadays
no.
in San Luis and
Yeah, you don't have to do it.
like
They
how
do
long?
it in the office.
4 years ago, they have been doing the photos in the
Oh,
office.
okay.
Yeah, this is what I say. Many things are
Have changed.
changing.
Yeah.
And for example, there wasn't anyone speaking English before in the immigration office in San Luis Potosí, at least. I know in Vallarta, in Mazatlan, in the beach, in Cancun, obviously there is. But here in San Luis, no one spoke English before. And now they have some girls that they speak a little English, some agents. So, well, things are changing. At least English. But as they say, we have here immigrants from China, from Germany, from France, from Japan, so we cannot speak all the languages.
Yeah, you're not going to speak all those languages.
So Sandra, if somebody was coming here to do their temporary or their permanent residency, are you saying that to give it at least 3 weeks? Could it be longer? Could it be shorter than 3 weeks?
No, not shorter.
Okay.
Not shorter.
Okay.
More or less 3 weeks normally. In some cases, you may get a shorter day. For example, if the agent, they see that you are like, your stamp is almost over, they may be nice. And if there's space on the schedule, they might tell you, you know what, come next week. We have like a space. The appointments are every half hour, more or less. So that's why, and they never begin when they should. They stay. But at least you have an appointment and you have an idea. Here in San Luis, I know in San Miguel de Allende, for example, you make a queue and you stay there and they give like numbers, to the people. So it works differently. And in some offices, you can make your appointment by telephone.
So let me ask you this. So when a person crosses the border, they've got 30 days to get to where they're going, whatever state or city they're going to be in Mexico. But once, say it takes them 7 days to get to wherever they're going, and then I&M gives an appointment for 3 weeks down the road, well then they're right pretty close to their 30 days. Or does the clock stop once they go in and request the appointment?
No, the clock doesn't stop. That's why they say, okay, you come, and immediately it's like the next day
Yeah.
you go to the office.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Do it immediately. That's what I tell everybody. Don't wait.
Right.
Don't wait, yes, because you never know what's going on. In
Exactly.
and normally, for example, it had happened to some clients of mine that they go and they do not realize the way that in Mexico we write the dates. So they read the date in a different way,
Oh,
in
right.
a broken way,
Yeah.
and they misconfuse and they lose their appointments.
Right.
These things may happen, so you should be like very careful with the dates, or the agent does not see when it's going to be expired your permission in 30 days. They don't pay attention to the date.
Well,
So you have to tell them.
Because I remember when we did that, we drove and we had to get in immigration when we came through the border like a stamp for just 30 days.
Exactly.
That's what it said.
Yeah.
So that's really important too.
And if the agent does not realize the date,
Right.
and they tell you, oh, come in 4 weeks,
Yeah.
or whatever, you go like, okay, thank you, bye, and then you realize it's going to be expired.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you have to go out again and come in.
back.
Right.
Exactly. So there
Or
are
if they don't
some-
want to hassle with it, they could go see you, right?
Yes, or because they also require, for example, a proof of address, that some of them are like does not know how or where to get it.
Right.
If they don't have an address yet.
Right.
And you need one.
Right.
So there are some special documents, and filling the application may not be so easy for
Right.
everyone.
True.
But the date thing is important because in the U.S. we're used to writing out the date, month, day, year.
I know.
And it's the opposite in Mexico.
In Mexico, it's the day, the month, and then the year.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's important that you understand that and know how to read it.
Yeah, exactly. And know how to read it, because if you have an appointment, you may lose your appointment.
Yeah.
You will be in trouble.
Right.
Yes, you will.
Yeah.
And there's no other way to do it. I mean, you have to go back, and that's it. And I have had many clients on that situation, like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yes, I'm your lawyer now, but you have to go back to your country and then come in again, and then we start again.
So do they have to start everything over again?
No,
No.
They just
Okay.
have
Gone.
to recross
As
the
long,
border.
because I know that when we did ours, and I think it's still the same, like you have 6 months from in the U.S. where they stamp it,
Exactly.
and there's like a picture of you in your passport. You have 6 months, they say, to cross
Exactly.
the border. But really, if you have 30 days once you get here, don't push your luck, right?
exactly.
Do it as soon as you
Exactly.
can, because you've got stuff to do over on this end.
Exactly.
And anything could go wrong, so
Or even for tourists, for example, people think that in Mexico you get straight 180 days
right,
in your tourist permission, but
Right.
that is not that way anymore.
right.
No.
Now the agents may give you 30 days, even 7 days, if they want to.
And they
So-
could ask you to prove your stay if you have a
Exactly,
hotel stay or
or your
whatever.
flights or whatever, just because, as in anywhere in the world, I guess. In any place, the immigration agents, they have this faculty to
Right.
ask you and take some decisions.
So if anybody who has any questions, I'll leave Sandra's contact information in the description box. How you can get a hold of her and ask
Sure.
questions or hire her services if that's what you need.
Yes, I really answer all the questions that arrive to me, and if you require any help, I'm here to help you.
Well, because a lot of people also, Penny, like to go through somebody's. I mean, there's
Yeah.
people that are comfortable on doing it, but then there's people that are like, I need
Yeah,
somebody.
people.
So
I
that's
love
where
the
she would
people.
come in handy, because there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm not comfortable
Yeah.
doing it
Or
myself.
you know what, for example, there's people who have done it the first time once, but as they have to go for them once again, and they have to bring more documents, or they feel that their application wrong and once again start, or things like that, then when they have to renew, they say, no, I prefer to hire someone, because
Exactly.
I really had a very bad time
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
first time. So sure, I
Okay.
really appreciate that.
Now, you just do it for San Luis Potosí, right?
Yeah, well, normally I do it for San Luis Potosí because it's the way they contact me.
Sure.
Otherwise, they find anyone else. But I can also help them find someone else in another city.
Oh,
okay.
Okay, well, that's good to know too.
Yes, and also any question. For example, I also do relocation, which is to help them to know the city. Some people, like you, for example, when they are trying to choose which city to live in Mexico and to pick, like Querétaro. I don't know if Querétaro, San Luis, Guanajuato, they feel everything is the same. They may come here and I can give them like a tour, a city guide tour, not only to the touristic areas, but also the residential areas, or according to I ask them about their interest, their personal interest. What would you like to do here in San Luis once you're here? So I show them, for example, art schools, sport clubs,
that's good.
many different activities that they may be doing here once they are here. So if they decide, they may take their decisions easier.
So you just help people kind of get acquainted with the area and show them where things are, what's available.
Exactly.
So that's really much more than just.
Yes, just a lawyer. Yes,
attorney,
it's more like I call my services like intercultural ally.
You could be an intercultural liaison.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes, everything like supermarkets, every services, whatever they require.
And you also do real estate?
So yes, well, not myself, but I have real estate agents that work with me, that I rely on them, I really trust them, so I can contact them for you. So this way you don't waste your time like seeing 20 houses or fighting with real estate agents, which is very
And it's probably more handy for people who are looking to rent, at least for the first few months or year or whatever.
Yes, normally what I do is that one more month ahead before they arrive, they start telling me what they require. Some questions, I have my application forms, and I start showing them some options like pictures and everything based on what the agents offer to me.
Like people with kids are probably going to have questions about schools and things like
and
that.
also appointments with schools depending on what they require, so I can recommend the best schools for them, for their children too.
Okay.
That's what I do.
That's great.
Yeah.
So she can help in many ways, a lot of ways.
I can help you.
Is like, well, in the U.S. we have the Saint Jack of all trades, but you'd be like the Jill of all trades, or the Sandra of all trades.
Exactly, and really I do. It's like, Sandra, where do I find this? Oh, go to this person. Because like, I have been living here. Well, I have lived also in Switzerland for a year and also in another city here in Mexico. But I know San Luis very well.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then as I'm also a mother and I'm a housewife, so I know what housewives require. If it's not me, the one who's going to help you with your problems, I know who can.
She's got a lot of contacts, in other words, so if she can't help you, other people can.
And I know who can. So,
I know, you have to appreciate the spirit of Mexicans, because it's like anything else. If you can ask a person, a Mexican, something, they may not know the answer, but they know who can help you.
Exactly. In Mexico we say, it's not important to know how to solve everything. What really matters is to have the phone of many people who can solve your point. That's it. If you have the phone, you have the solution.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you so much for this information, because people out there are always wanting to know more about immigration.
I know.
And we appreciate that you shared this information with
them.
Oh,
thank you, and I will be really happy to get in touch with you.
Yeah. So we'll leave her link below.
Thank you.
Well, as always, from the Two Travelers in Mexico.
What they did.
Bye, guys.
Bye.